You know, ice baths and cold plunges are all the rage right now. But did you know they've been used for centuries for mental health? For me, ice baths fundamentally change how I see cold and every challenge that faces me in life. Keep watching for the top 4 ways that ice baths could change your life. So the first one, you know, I always hated the cold. Hated it. I was the guy that in the middle of summer would be wearing a wetsuit while water skiing in water in the lake that was like 75 degrees. And I'd be like, whoa, this is so cold, even with a wetsuit on, jumping in. I would be like that. I was living in France. I was hiking up in the Alps with a bunch of people from Europe. And as we got up to the top of these mountains, we found a glacier lake. And everyone started jumping in it. And it wasn't even that warm a day. And I'm thinking to myself in my North American mentality, hypothermia, this is crazy. What if you guys freeze and then you can't make it down the mountain? How am I going to carry you? All of these things that I have been programmed to believe living in America with the cold concepts that we have. And yet they all seem to be enjoying themselves. And I was intrigued by it, watching them. And they're laughing at me, saying, come on in. And I'm like, no way, I hate the cold. That was my response. And then this young woman strips down into a string bikini. She was a pretty woman. And she just dives in, gracefully dives into this water and starts to backstroke across the lake leisurely. And I just was like, oh my gosh, I've got to get in. I gotta be able to do it. This petite woman can do this and survive. Me, I've gotta be able to meet this challenge. So I dove in too. And I screamed. I'm just freaking out how cold it is. And I lasted probably 10 seconds. Got out just like, and then I felt the fire of my blood just coming to my outer extremities, igniting me and exhilarating me. And I realized I need to change how I think about a cold plunge. I need to change my perspective with this and how I interact with winter and everything about cold. And this can happen with you not just in cold, but all the pain points in your life. When you begin to understand, I can meet this challenge and it will ignite me. And that's what happened to me while I was in Europe. It began to make me think, I'm going to re-evaluate how I move in this space. So make sure you stick around to the end because I can tell you how this concept changed my life. The second thing you want to do is have the mental capacity to say, I can meet this challenge. It changes what you believe you can do when you say that, right? When something comes at you that's hard, that you're saying, I don't like this, I hate this, I don't want to do this. You are telling yourself that you can't do this. It is within your mind that you can believe what you can do. And when you say, I cannot do it, you can't. My mom used to say this to me all the time. I'd say, Mom, I can't do it. And she'd say, if you say you can't, you can't. But if you say you can, you can. And so I'd get really mad about that because I hated her saying that. I can't butter my own toast. Oh, James, if you say you can't, you can't. But if you say you can, you can. No, Mom, you butter it for me. I actually remember this conversation with my mom when I was 4. I was so frustrated with her teasing me like this until I buttered my own toast and found out I could do it. It's the same thing with cold. It's the same thing with any challenge that you face. So let me know in the comments below how you get amped up to face your challenges. What do you do? If you want to get over your fears in business or in relationship, check out the other videos on my channel while you're at it. Subscribe. So the third thing that you want to do when you have emotionally difficult things that you have to face or physically difficult things, anything that you're having to face, when you start doing the cold plunge, you can then take what you do with a cold plunge and put it onto that space and say, this is just an ice bath. I know how to get into hard, cold stuff that hurts me, that scares me, that makes me feel uncomfortable. This is just a moment. I can do this. This is a powerful thing. It transforms your way of approaching difficult and hard circumstances. And you can think, I can sit in this and make it happen. The fourth thing that happens when you have this mentality is it transforms how you exist in life. You now take on the challenges you are dreading and you know that the result will be worth it because you do this, right? And there's Tony Robbins. He says, I do a cold plunge every single day. It is a test of willpower for you to get from your comfortable space and put your body into something that will absolutely have an impact on your heart rate, your blood, everything that's going on with you, and then to calm yourself. If you've done it, like I have, you can get into this water and your first initial instinct is to be turn into like high adrenaline breathing, being scared. But if you don't, if you just override that response and calmly start to breathe, your body adapts. You can sit in that cold water and be calm and face it and sit with it. And then when you climb out, what happens is all of the blood in your body just fires out and you feel like you're on fire. It ignites you with energy. And this is what a challenge is like. This concept changed my life because what it's done for me is it has allowed me to face all kinds of emotional challenges. I'm good at facing physical challenges, but for some reason, the cold water plunge, the way that I had to face the cold, I hated winter, I hated everything about it, but it has changed the nature of how I move. I will literally run in the mountains in shorts and dive into snowbanks now and not even worry about it. I'm like, yeah, I can meet this. I got the energy to push through what this is because I know I'm strong enough to burn through that cold. And you know what? When I take that template and I put it on, say, a challenge I'm facing in a relationship, a challenge that I'm facing at work, a challenge that I'm facing academically, learning a new skill, those frustrations that you get when you're feeling like, I can't do this, I can say to myself, I've already done this in one way. I have changed the nature of how I accept cold into my life, and I can enjoy it, in fact. I don't even have to hate it. Every single time I go into a cold plunge, I never think to myself, oh, I want to do this. But what happens is I override my initial instinct in my brain, and I say to myself, you know what? I'm gonna do this, and I know it's gonna be hard to sit down and break that ice and drop into that water and feel it rush over me. I was up in the mountains just this last weekend with a crew, and there's this waterfall that plunges through this cold tunnel from the top of this cave, and we stepped into it, and the water hit the top of the back of my neck, just the right spot, and I actually stumbled. When it hits certain parts of your neck, the way it hits your nerves, it kind of almost knocked me out. I stumbled, I was like, woo! But I got out of the water and immediately just felt the exhilaration of it. It was incredible and fun and makes you feel like you've accomplished something, and then you can take that and place it into other spaces. Rather than shrinking in fear from what is hard, you move toward it. You step into it. And this is what changes our lives. We are built to want comfort and feel comfort and seek it, but that is not the space of growth. It is not the space of adventure. It is not the space that will transform your existence from what it is, the simple day in, day out drudgery. Face these cold plunge. Try to do a cold plunge if you want, but if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. Take on that mentality of what a cold plunge can do, that test of your willpower, and apply it to other areas of your life. Embrace those challenges with excitement, move through them, and I promise you, it will ignite your life. If you want to know more of things like this, stick around for my next video coming up on how to be a stronger person mentally and emotionally. I'm James Burnham. Thanks for joining me.